Looking at number 7, it says, which expression is equivalent? Again, that word equivalent means, I'm going to go ahead and underline it and put means equals to the distance between negative 13 and negative 4 on a number line. Remember, distance can't be negative. Distance is always going to be a positive number. You can't say that you are negative 3 feet away from someone. You can say you are 3 feet away from someone, however. So what I'm going to do is if I was to have on a number line, and I showed, okay, this is negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, 10, 11, I'm going to have to go off a little bit, 12, 13, I can see that I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces away. So the distance between negative 13 and negative 4 is 9. So basically what it's asking me is which of these are equal to 9. So to do that, I have negative 13 and negative 14. Well, that's a negative and a negative. So I would add them together. I would get negative 17, but it's absolute values. That's a positive 17. Well, 17 is not equal to 9. So I can cross this option out. I have a negative 13 minus negative 4. Remember, we cannot subtract integers. So remember, we keep the first one. We change the sign. And we change the sign of the second number. So now I have a negative 13 and a positive 4. Since the signs are different, I'm going to subtract 13 minus 4 is 9, and that would be a negative 9, but again, it's absolute value, so it's a positive 9. So this option is equal to 9. This, again, I'm subtracting integers. I cannot do that. I'm going to put a parentheses around my second number so I can see. And I go negative 13 plus a negative 4. Again, that's going to be negative 17, but it's absolute value, so it would be positive 17. So that can't be the answer. I have a negative 4 and a negative 13. I would add them. I get negative 17, which ends up being a positive 17. That can't be the answer. And then again, I'm subtracting integers, and I cannot do that, so I'm going to keep, change, change. So I keep the first one, change the second one, and change the third one. Now I have different signs. I have a positive 13 and negative 4, which equals 9. So I would select the second and the fifth option. For number 8, it says a catering company loses $110 as, oops, sorry, let me go back. Oops. Sorry about that. I wanted to delete this little spot right here. So it says the catering company loses $110 as a result of a delay. The owner of the company must share the loss equally. So there's some keywords. So first, loses $110. That's a negative 110. There are 5 owners, and they have to share the loss equally. Well, anytime you're sharing something, especially equally, that should trigger that that's going to be division. So my problem right here would be negative 110 divided by 5. And remember, that's 5 owners. You can't have negative 5 owners. So I would do 110 divided by 5. 5 can't go in 1, but 5 can go into 11 2 times. I subtract. I get 10 and 1, bring down. I get 22. And again, it's a negative 22, so my answer would be A. Looking at number 9, it says a marathon is 26.2 miles long. There is a water station every 1 31/100th mile long along the race route. Which expression represents the total number of water stations? So if I was to draw this out, let's say I say this is my marathon, and say that this whole thing is 26.2 miles. And it's saying, let's say this is like every 1 31/100ths. Okay, you're going to have a water station. You're going to keep doing this. And this is just rough. This is an exact amount. But this just shows you that I'm taking this whole amount that the marathon is in, and I'm dividing it up every 1 31/100th of a mile. So it would not be subtraction. It's not addition. I'm not adding on to the track or adding on to the marathon. I'm not multiplying. What you're going to be doing is you're dividing. You're dividing up that marathon and placing a water station every so often. For number 10, it says a scientist built a Mars rover that can travel 4.9 centimeters per second on flat ground. If the rover continues at the same rate, how many centimeters will it travel in 15.5 seconds. So if this is 4.9 per 1 second and this is 15.5 seconds, I would multiply. So I'm going to do 4.9 times 15.5. I do not want to deal with decimals and fractions, so you can either change your decimal into a fraction or your fraction to a decimal. Since 1/2 I know is equal to 0.5, I'm actually just going to do 4.9 times 15.5. When I multiply, I'm always going to multiply the bigger number on top, so I'm going to do 15.5 times 4.9. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 more is 49. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 4 more is 13. I need a placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 more is 22. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. I add it up, I get 5, 9, 5, and 7. So I get 75.95. And this would be, again, centimeters. And you have to get full credit, you have to put your units, or otherwise you only get half credit. Number 11, it says Carl and Cameron are at a pool. Carl dives in and touches the bottom of the pool. So I'm going to draw my pool. So let's say this is the surface of my pool. And that's going to be 0. So he dives and touches the bottom of the pool. And when he touches the bottom, this is going to be 15 feet, it says. But then we have that Cameron is standing above the pool on a diving board, which we're going to say that the diving board is, it says it's 2 feet above the surface. So they want to know what's the distance between, the vertical distance between Carl's hand and Cameron's feet. So I would go from here to here is 15. From here to here is 2, so I would actually add them together, and you should get that it's 17 feet. Again, do not forget your units or you do not get full credit. And then number 12 says Josiah downloads 44 songs, including 16 songs by his favorite band. Express as a decimal the number of songs by his favorite band that Josiah downloaded out of the total number of downloads. So he says downloads 44, including 16 songs by his favorite band. So express as a decimal the number of his favorite song out of the total. So his favorite songs was 16. Out of a total was 44. So it wants me to convert this into a decimal. So if I'm going to do that, remember if you're ever taking a fraction into a decimal, you would go, psh, forget you, drops in, puts it in the box. 14 can't, actually I'm going to rewrite this down here so I have more room to work. 14 can't go into 16, so I have to add a decimal and a 0. And then 44 can go into 160, I believe, 3 times, so we'll just guess and check. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. So 3, then minus 132. And I'm going to get 28. I'm going to add a 0, bring it down. So how many times can 44 go into 280? I'm going to say, I think, 6 times. 44 times 6 is 24. 24 divided by 26. So I put 6 to 64. And subtract. I'm going to get 160 again. So I said 44 can go into 160 3 times. I subtract, I get 132, and I'm going to get that 28, 280 again. So it's going to go on this 36 to 0.36. The 3 and 6 is going to repeat over and over and over again. So then in the last part it says, is the decimal terminating or repeating? We would put repeating because you will keep getting 3 and 6 in the quotient. Again, quotient is the answer to a division problem, so the quotient is up here. Then we're going to keep getting 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6. So that is why it is considered a repeating decimal.